What's going on, everybody? Welcome to something very special for Pitter Patter Pop. I actually have a guest with me today. I have Mr. Dimes4CRIMES. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Great, great. For everybody watching, I had a thing on YouTube on the community tab a while ago. And I said, hey, guys, tell me what content creators from the Pitter Patter Pop community that you guys really love that you want me to talk to. And your name came up a crazy amount of times. So hopefully that feels pretty good. You were highly requested. So I'm glad we got together. We can do something like this for everybody. So, first, I
Yeah,
just
it
want to
feels
ask
pretty good.
you a few questions. Now, I'm not an interviewer, so these are not going to be very good interview questions, but I just thought they'd be interesting stuff to know. So, first of all, is your name a reference to Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap?
Yes, I have. I am currently caught up with the manga, so yes, my name is a play on the stand of Funny Valentine. I thought it was just a pretty funny name that I just took and I just kind of run with it. Uh,
I thought that was it, but then I didn't want to make references and then have everyone be like, I don't know what that is. So, okay, perfect.
you can tell from my about tab on YouTube. It quote reads part 7 spoilers. So yeah, that's a direct reference to my name. So
Perfect.
you know,
Perfect. All right, and question number two. When did you very first get into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
well, okay. Here's a funny thing. When I was like a freshman in high school, I was just kind of like starting out and just joining different types of online communities. And one of the series I heard about most is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I was just curious because I see these weird looking people with these just bizarre looking you know. Um, I didn't know what they were called at the time, but they were stands. And I tried getting into the series a few years ago, but unfortunately, the first contact I ever had with JoJo was the part 3 OVAs. I didn't know how to find the 2012 anime adaptation, so I just watched the first episode of the part 3 OVAs, and I was like, what is this shit? I don't get it. And and a couple years later, I finally got into started watching the anime adaptation, and I tried getting into part 1, but unfortunately, I was like, okay, I don't I don't really care. So yes, please don't persecute me, but I skipped to part 3 because I just wanted to see the stands.
Oh
So,
no, I'm gonna have to bleep that part. JoJo Twitter's gonna
oh
lose their
man,
mind.
oh man, but yeah, I finished part 3, and I don't know if I then started watching part 4, but I obviously I went back and watched part 1s and 2, and I actually really enjoy parts 1 and 2, probably even a little bit more than part 3. But part 3 still holds a special place in my heart
Right, right.
after that. But yeah, that's basically my introduction in the JoJo series. At that time, parts 1 and 4 were completely animated, and it was like I don't know, less than a year later, part 5 was animated, and
So it was in like that
I
lull
was
period before Ventario came out.
yeah, I actually read the manga and fully caught up with the JoJo manga at that point. So I was pretty well versed in JoJo once part 5 came out, and I was really happy with how the part 5 anime turned out overall. It was a really great adaptation.
Yeah, I loved Golden Wind. Golden Wind's one of my favorite parts since the manga, so I really enjoyed the anime. They did a great job there for sure.
Oh yes, yes.
All right, so question number three: when and what first got you into Pitter Patter Pop?
Yo, I don't exactly remember when was like the first time I've ever like had like a first interaction with Pitter Patter Pop. I've probably seen like a couple like images online about like this new JoJo game coming out, and it was yeah, it was like a JoJo puzzle game, and I wasn't really too into it at the time. I didn't really know what was going on, but okay. So at this time, I first like got my phone, right. It was like around December of December like 2 years ago. yeah, December 2 years ago, I got my first phone, right? And I just realized, oh hey, there's this cool looking JoJo game that I can get on my phone, and I just downloaded cool Co app and installed on my phone, and the rest was history. And yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, now what is your favorite team that you have ever used in the game? Can be meta, off meta, whatever you want. Just the most fun you've ever had using a team.
You know, the first team I ever used, well, I ever mained was Jonathan and Koichi Act One. Because that was like the sort of best beginners team at the time, and like you know, I really enjoyed using that team because it taught me like a bunch of like great fundamentals about the game, like setting up 4x4s, like linking skills with eraser or replacer and enhancer panels. So I learned basic synergies because of using Jonathan Koichi, and also it's just a really great and a reliable team that you can use to get like 4x4s and even 5x5s. I got pretty good with getting 5x5s with Jonathan Koichi. Funny story with Jonathan. When I first started downloaded the game, my starter was Frog Giorno, or I mean regular Giorno. But at this time, the Frog Giorno was a login bonus. So at that time, I was like thinking like, hey, wait a second, why can't I just restart the game and get a different starter because I already have this other version of Giorno. Why not just start over? So I reinstalled the game a couple times, and eventually I got Joseph. Was like, you know what, this is Joseph is one of the better starters in the game, so I just kind of went with that. And then, my first multi on the JoJo banner, I got two Jonathans, so I instantly had him at skill level 2. So, yeah, then I just kind of ran with it and for like a couple months until part 4 Jotaro reran for the first time. So, yeah, that's just my that's probably one of my favorite teams so far. Another favorite of mine is Okuyasu and Fugo, or pretty much any like Fugo synergy team. Um, Fugo was one of the units I always really wanted to get, but it took me like 6 friggin' months to finally coin pull him for the first time, and that was I was pretty hyped. I was pretty hyped, so I instantly like skill leveled him to skill level 4, and then I just have a lot of fun with him and his like mechanic of spawning the enhanced block panels, and I really like that there's a lot of erasers that can take advantage of that, like Mista, Okuyasu again, or even like Narancha. Narancha is a really fun unit to use with Fugo, especially if you have them at high skill levels, where you can pretty much just spam them over and over again. So yeah.
Yeah, all right. The last interview-ish question is, what unit in the game was the biggest disappointment for you?
Let's see here. I'm just looking through all the units. I can't really say that I'm disappointed by any unit because like I'm really just more of a collector. I don't really concern about whether or not the unit is good or bad per se. Like I'm already pretty set right now, so I don't really need any more good units. If there's any more good units, I don't want to like miss out on them if I have like bad luck on their banners. So I don't really mind whether or not a unit is subpar per se, but I'm just looking through and trying to see whether or not I'm really disappointed by anything. But the unit I could say that I'm most disappointed by are some of like the lower tier units, like the BRs that never got like you know another version of them so far. Like Speedwagon, Whole Horse.
Poor whole
Those.
horse, man. He's trying. He was gonna
Yeah,
be a Stardust Crusader, and now he's out here. He doesn't even have a GR unit, man. How sad.
or Chaka. I wish there was like a. Well, then again, there is Anubis Polnareff, and he's pretty godly. So you have one like godly, Anubis stand user, let alone a Polnareff units. But like, yeah, I at this moment I kind of wish they would like give some of the lower tier units in this game, um, an upgrade, something like a higher level units where they can be seen more and actually used. But then again, now that I realize I wish I wish Bruno was done a lot better in this game. You know,
Yeah, Bruno's my
his
biggest sore spot too, as it feels like he got done dirty.
yeah, yeah, his okay, so he was like one of the first units that were released in the game, and like they didn't understand how to scale his cooldown properly with his skill because yeah, his cooldown is just so terrible in comparison to what he actually does that it's just not worth using him. Voiced Bruno is actually a little bit better. I actually see him quite a decent amount in the well, okay, not a decent amount, but I see him sometimes in the top 100 with Gold Experience Requiem. So at least Voice Bruno has something, but for some reason every time he comes out, I always just miss out on him. So yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah,
But
I use Voice
yeah,
Bruno mostly for those sweet voice lines. He has some of the best voice lines in the game. They're so good. Uh,
oh yeah.
yeah, I gotta love
I'd
the
like
stand
to
cry.
I'd like to get him just for collection. Interesting how they updated his voice lines though later on when they later on they updated his voice lines so he has more voice lines when
Yeah,
he's
when they
like
started doing the, because when they first came out, because Bruno was the first one, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have a voice line for like generic attack. Like when they ended the stage, they didn't all go like hurrah or whatever they do. Like mostly they just yell. But
yeah
I
they
don't think they had that. I think they added
at
that
the end of
later.
stand-ups. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if Jorno got his voice lines updated yet.
You know, I don't think that he did because I use him fairly often, and I don't remember him having an annoying grunt voice line. But I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think he got updated. And like they say whether or not the voice line's updated, and I don't remember if voice Jorno was updated, but yeah, whatever.